is Father Rudy Alumam, and I come from Ghana. I just like to start with that, but it's going to tie in with what Father Glenn talked about going out to the ends of the world. That Ghana is a country in West Africa. That's where it is. I have a story, humorous story about Ghana, because many people confuse Ghana with other countries, like Guyana or Uganda. But it's in West Africa. You can see there in the yellow. It's just a little north of the equator on the Atlantic coast. It's bordered by Ivory Coast to the west. Then to the north is Burkina Faso. Then to the east is Togo. And then further east is Nigeria, that bigger one. It has a population of about 33 million. They say it's about the size of Oregon. So some places are really highly populated. But we had our independence from England in 1957. We were colonized by the British, just like many other countries in West Africa. And in 1957, we had our independence. I come from a town, the bigger town, which is way up north. It's called Bolgatanga. If you look at a map, you can see way up north. They were just very close, probably about 20 minutes to the northern border. That's where I come from. But my village where I grew up is called Vea, as John said. It's about 7 miles northeast of the bigger city. And we call it a village because besides the school and then the little clinic, there is nothing else. So, I mean, it doesn't really qualify to be called a town, even though the population is about 12,000 people. So I grew up in this village. I would try to fish out something, of myself, That is me when I was probably about 2 years and my dad there. And fast forward to about 33 years ago when I was being ordained, my mom and dad with me in the procession going to the church to present me to the bishop for ordination. And I think this is kind of very appropriate from what Father Glenn was talking about, that we are called to the ends of the world to be fishers of men, because we were not only colonized by Britain, but we are also evangelized by missionaries from Europe and North America. Ghana, the northern part of Ghana, was evangelized by some missionaries called Missionaries of Africa. Many of you will probably know them by their nickname, the White Fathers. You probably know them, the White Fathers. And yes, and the reason why they called them the White Fathers, they came from France and they worked their way into Algeria, and it was so hot that they just wore this tunic white, and so they just called them by what they wore. They called them the White Fathers, Père Blanc in French. Because they started from France, many of them were French. But you know that with evangelization and colonization, every European country was very territorial. So Ghana being colonized by Britain, they were very suspicious of French missionaries coming into an English-speaking colony. And so there had to be a compromise, and so they sent missionaries from Canada and from the United States, from England and Ireland. And so the first pastor in my home parish was from Canada, in Quebec, but he spoke English. Then we had some from Ireland. They were called the White Fathers. Now the evangelization and the vocations have kind of transformed now, that there are more of Africans in that congregation than people from Europe, as you can see. So we try to make fun of them and say the Black White Fathers. But these are the people who evangelized, and I can think about me being here thanks to these missionaries. Because one day when I was 13 after Mass, this missionary said, "Have you heard of this school called Notre Dame?" And it was a high school seminary. And I said, I'd never heard about it. And he said, go buy the form and write the exam. And of course, fast forward, I went to that, and all the teachers, except one, were religious priests and nuns and brothers. So I trace and I attribute my vocation partly to the influence of these missionaries. And so, I mean, there couldn't be a better preface to my talk than Father Glenn's homily about going out to evangelize the world. So in 1991, I was ordained. That's the bishop who ordained me, cleaning my hands after after the anointing, of the hands. And so now, in 2001, I came here to study, and at the end of it, I went back. But I kept thinking about my time growing up and going to grade school and to high school. There were very few classmates of mine who went beyond junior high. I can count them. And then into high school, there were some of them who dropped out. And how I made it, thanks, I think it's just providence, and then thanks to my dad, who would never allow me to have an excuse for not going to school. And because of that, I'm here, and I kept thinking about the many challenges that are in there. And so I kept pondering about this problem. This is the problem, the lack of educational infrastructure in this village, because the government has the schools, but there's nothing to support besides just having a classroom. They pay the teachers, but there's nothing else. And so textbooks, notebooks, teachers, resources, and desks, nothing. Food shortage. Some kids come to school without breakfast, and they have to stay till 2 o'clock. They probably will get home, and they might not have food until around 5 o'clock. So if you're hungry, you're not even motivated to go to school. And even if you're in school and are hungry, what are you learning? So these were the problems leading to poor enrollment, low teacher morale, because the government doesn't have the resources, and so they cannot really enforce dedication. And so look at the statistics. The dropout rate in basic school is about 28%. That's a national. But in many rural places, it's even higher. Schools are without desks, and schools that have no lunch program. And so these were the problems that I kind of figured out, and I said, okay, there has to be a solution. The solution is to be able to see ways in which we can supplement learning materials, improve the teacher skills, provide after-school services like library hours, provide lunch, and then also clean water. Because many places where you don't have access to water, then they have to walk miles. And if your child is walking miles to get water, they're too tired to even go to school. And so water was very much tied into it. So what happened was 2005, when I'd finished my studies and I was going back, I talked to the pastor in the parish where I was in Northern California. And they committed, so I said I wanted to build a library. And the library is just like a hall, one for kids and then one for older children. That less than 5% of the population have electricity. So that means when you go home, there's no learning. But we can have electricity in the library. The kids will come and then do their homework and study and go back. So by 2009, this St. Bede's Church managed to build the library. And then we had that commission, and the kids could go there and study. But then one solution leads to another problem. We quickly realized that these kids don't know how to read. So they're sitting there flipping and looking at photos. So that means that we have to go into the school to teach them. And so part of it is to raise funds to have school learning materials to help them. 2010, we started with a lunch program. We couldn't feed all the kids, the 600 kids, Monday to Friday. So we raise money to feed them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But if people are hungry and the only thing that draws them to school is lunch, you can tell that the attendance was very predictable. So these days they had full enrollment. We said, no, this is not good. So we started to vary it and to have lunch randomly. Then, thanks to the support of many people like Holy Family and St. Irenaeus, when I came here, by 2016 we were able to now feed them, to give them lunch. And then 2018 we built our first well that the kids could have water in the school, the families could have water. And then 2019 we had a shipment of school desks that were donated by Tustin School District. That was before the pandemic. Shipment was affordable. Now it's just prohibitive. So we rather have money to buy the things there. But that time we could do that. Anyway, this is just a timeline I just want to run down. So this was just the beginning of the library. See them, the kids, they're busy looking at photos because they don't know how to read. This is one of the class, since they didn't have desks, that's how they were studying, on the floor. But then, as time went on and the enrollment increased, then all the classes, the schools were full. To the point that they were they were sending some kids who came in from other places away. And so one community didn't have a school and the kids were at home. So it's like a problem. And increase the support to have school supplies and lunch, increased the enrollment, but then we couldn't take care of them. And the government said, no, start a new school, but they have nothing. So the kids had to then stay, the community built this shed. And as you can imagine, if there is wind, then they cannot stay. If there's rain, then they have to close. So about 2021, we began thinking about trying to start this new school. And then we tried to raise money in the parishes. And so I went home and we had a community to talk to them and said, would you commit to the labor if we provide the material? Of course, the response was, yes, we will do that. And so the new school, construction of the new school began. You can see those trenches, not a machine, not bobcat. It is they themselves, the community came on to start to build. And this is how it started to progress, because we wanted to build like a 16 classroom in the end over 4 years. So we wanted to build 4 classrooms per year. And so it kept going. They're making the decking, and all that is by pulley. In April last year, they had finished the first floor. In Ghana, we don't have, the regulations are not like here, you have to finish everything and inspect it. No. There, we wanted to finish the first floor and have the kids there while they continue to build up. So this was April. This was all done. And then we had the priest come bless. And on the 17th, just almost a year, the kids were sitting in the classroom studying while we continued again. Because you can see they were so happy that they don't have to sit outside with the sun and the wind. But the second floor then continued, as you can see. Then it went on. This was the trusses putting on the second. So this is just the second phase, another 4 classrooms. Then the roof was being put on. In January, I was home. And I went to the school, and there it is. There's 8 classrooms already, and the kids are in there. So the second phase is done now, and they couldn't be happier. You can tell. You're so happy to have, and the joy is a reflective of not just only them, but their parents and the whole community for all that we can do for them. But the third phase continues. We're going to build another set of 3 classrooms, the teacher lounge, offices, and then the fourth phase, maybe next year, then do the second floor, and that completes the school. I mentioned we have a lunch program, and that is like, I was there, this is the lunch that the kids were just getting, and they were just showing to me their lunch. The lunch typically is a bowl of rice with some dried fish as protein, or peanut butter sauce, or black-eyed peas. That is nutritious, and that is like a feast for them. That will keep them nourished, but it will keep them attentive in school. And this is how much it costs. 25 cents to feed a child, to give a lunch to a child. So if somebody gave $50 a month, they were feeding 12 kids for the whole year. This is the breakdown. That is what makes that difference. And thanks to the support and the understanding of many people around, we are able to make a difference and to give a future to these kids in this village and the surrounding communities. So these are the programs that we intend to continue with this year, to continue the third phase of the building, as I mentioned. We also have solar-powered wells for the community, so that they can have, right in the morning by 6:30 the sun is up, so you have solar power that can power them and fill the tanks that the people can draw. That is the key, and so we're hoping to be able to install another one for that. Continue to have help to give some capacity building to the teachers to increase their skills, so that they can teach better, they can have better results in their teaching and their learning, and then expand the lunch to match with the increasing enrollment, but also to have a computer lab for the kids, because that is something that IT is something that has come to stay, and the villages are not exempt from that. So these are the programs that we intend to continue to give. And I just, for lack of time, just wanted to give you this. This is what I've been doing, and thanks to somehow the evangelization that we have been part of. And when I was going to the seminary in the mid-80s, I never thought that I would be here serving. And when I was growing up in grade school, I never thought that I would even meet a priest who would then show me the way to go to minus the seminary and then to be here. The church is one, as Father Glenn said, just coming all the way 7,000 miles here, we speak the same language of God's love for us. And on behalf of my people, I want to thank you very much. I have some resources there on the table there. I have a quinceañera to go to, but I'm going to leave them behind, and you can, we need your support. And I know many of you there are some of you here who have been supporting, but to spread the word, not just you, but you can take to spread the word, and you can go online and see what we do, and then you can send me a message, and I'll be ready to respond. Thank you very much, and if there are any questions, otherwise I'm very, very, very grateful. Yeah, so this new school is called St. Bartholomew, and Bartholomew was the first catechist in my village when I was growing up. He taught me catechism to get me baptized, and he died about 25 years ago. And this school is named after. In the country, they have what they call religious and moral education, and that is all across board in all schools. And so as a Catholic school, we cannot afford, to pay the teachers and all of that. The government does that, so there's a partnership. But if you have the resources, then you have a greater measure of control about who you hire, who becomes a teacher, and then the programs that come in.
Father Rudy, thank you. Thank you for your mission. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a light of Christ into this world. And on behalf of all of my brother Friars here and our organization, we wanted to present you with a First Friday Friars trophy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.